Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever made a decision that felt perfect at the time, only to watch it just completely blow up in your face later? Yeah, we've all been there. But here's the thing. There's a hidden layer to how decisions work that most people just miss. But the world's sharpest thinkers, they use it every single day. It's called second-order thinking. And by the end of this, you'll be able to use it too. It is one of the most maddening things, isn't it? You map out this brilliant plan, you've got this clear, obvious solution to whatever problem is bugging you, and somehow you end up in an even worse spot than where you started. Why does this happen over and over again? Well, the answer is actually baked right into how our brains are wired.
You see, our brains, they absolutely love taking the easy way out. It's a survival thing. And this default mode, what we call first-order thinking, it's designed to solve the problem that's right here, right now. It's all about that immediate fix. But that speed, that simplicity, it comes with a huge price tag, often leading us straight into traps we never even saw coming.
So look at this. Most of us, and I mean almost all of us, live our lives on the left side of this chart. Our thinking is fast, it's superficial, and it is laser-focused on getting that immediate relief. It's just the path of least resistance. But you know, exceptional results, the stuff that really moves the needle, that comes from the right side. It's thinking that is complex, deep, and really deliberate. And here's the key. It's not about being smarter. It's about being more thorough. And that's the big shift we're going to talk about.
So what exactly is this powerful tool? Well, it's all about learning to think around corners, to actually see the chain reactions that our decisions start. It's not so much about, predicting the future with a crystal ball. It's more about preparing for what's most likely to happen next. And then after that,
At its heart, this is it. This is the whole game. It's a mental model that forces you to look past the obvious, immediate result and really explore the ripple effects. The first-order effect is what happens now. The second-order effect is what happens because of what just happened. And the amazing part, you can unlock this whole way of thinking just by asking one tiny little question.
That's it. That is the magic phrase. And then what? You just tack it on to the end of any decision. Okay, so we're going to do X, and then what? The competition just did Y, okay, and then what? This simple question forces you to trace the path of your choices out into the future, and that's where you uncover all the hidden side effects and all the hidden opportunities. Let me show you a really famous, almost unbelievable example of what happens when you don't ask.
Oh, this is a classic story. It's the perfect example of a really simple solution that creates an absolutely catastrophic problem. And it all started in colonial India with what seemed like a very reasonable concern.
So the problem in colonial Delhi was simple, right? Too many venomous cobras slithering around. The solution seemed just as simple. The government offered a cash bounty for every single dead cobra. The first-order result? A total success. People brought in snakes by the bucket load and collected their money. But they forgot to ask, and then what? The second-order disaster was that people, being clever and driven by that incentive, started secretly breeding cobras for profit. When the government finally figured this out and scrapped the program, well, the cobra farms were worthless. So what did the breeders do? They just released all the snakes. And the city ended up with more cobras than when they started. A perfect backfire.
And this isn't just some quirky historical story, This pattern, this fundamental bug in our thinking, it shows up everywhere. We design safer tires with more grip. That's a first-order win, right? But then we get the second-order loss of worst fuel economy. We pump livestock full of antibiotics to make food cheaper, and the unintended consequence is the rise of these drug-resistant superbugs. And that first-order hit of dopamine you get from a social media like can lead directly to the second-order fallout of anxiety and deep social polarization. It's the same pattern.
The legendary investor Warren Buffett has this brilliant metaphor for this whole thing. He says it's like being at a parade. One person stands on their tiptoes to see better. Seems like a smart first-order decision for them. But then the person behind them has to do it, and soon everyone is on their tiptoes. So what's the result? Nobody can see any better than they could before, but now everybody's uncomfortable. A series of seemingly rational individual choices leads to a worse outcome for the entire group.
Okay, so how do we avoid the Cobra effect and this whole tiptoe trap? This isn't just some abstract theory. This is a practical tool. Let's dig into 2 specific ways you can start using it to your advantage, like right now.
Okay, First, we're going to see how this helps you make way better personal choices by connecting what you do today to the person you really want to be tomorrow. And second, we'll see how it's basically a superpower for persuasion, making your ideas almost impossible for people to ignore.
Just think about it for a second. The first-order pleasure of eating junk food, it's immediate. It's right there. But the second-order consequence is poor health, low energy, all that stuff down the line. By constantly asking yourself, and then what? You make that long-term pain feel more real right now. And that makes it a whole lot easier to choose the salad over the donut. See? You're not just relying on willpower anymore, you're using foresight.
This is also an incredible tool for convincing people. I mean, look at the philosopher Mary Wollstonecraft. When she argued for women's education, she didn't just stop at the first-order benefit of, hey, it's a woman's right. No, she brilliantly showed the second-order benefits for all of society. She argued that educated women would become better mothers, better partners, and better citizens, which would strengthen the entire nation. By thinking through the positive ripple effects for her audience, her argument became incredibly powerful and hard to dismiss.
All right, but a quick word of caution here. This tool can become a trap if you're not careful. If you follow every single possibility down some rabbit hole to its absolute worst conclusion, you'll fall into what's called the slippery slope fallacy. And if you try to map out every single possible consequence, you'll just get stuck in analysis paralysis and never do anything. The goal is not to predict everything. The goal is to focus on the most likely consequences. That's what gives you enough information to make a confident move.
So when you start to practice this consistently, something really cool happens. You shift from just reacting to life to strategically shaping it. You start to see the world not as a bunch of random, isolated events, but as this big, interconnected system. The perfect analogy for this is chess. A novice chess player thinks, okay, where can I move my piece right now? That is pure first-order thinking. A grandmaster, on the other hand, is thinking, okay, if I move my knight here, my opponent will probably respond there, which will then open up this attack over here, which forces them to defend like that. They are playing out the consequences of the consequences. So I'll just leave you with this. Every major decision you face, in your career, your relationships, your health, it's a move on your own personal chessboard. So don't just stare at the square right in front of you. Take a breath, take a moment, and ask that question. And then,
Hey, if this explainer helped you see your own decisions in a new light, do me a favor and hit that like button. And I really want to know, so comment below, what's the first decision where you're going to try to apply this way of thinking? And definitely be sure to subscribe, because our next explainer on systems thinking is the perfect follow-up to everything you've learned today. It all connects. Thanks for watching.